We are back on Morning Line, our final segment this morning with Dr. Calvin Smith, who's a big Braves fan.
Go Braves.
I hope they do well today against the Dodgers. They can close them out. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Oh, man, I would love it.
Yeah.
First World Series since '99.
Gosh, they're playing great, and I think they did have a great shot at winning. I really do. Listen, Gina had a follow-up phone call. We talked to her earlier. Let's go to Gina. Gina, are you there with your follow-up? I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Sure.
Listen, and the second part of that question was, I'm not putting no one on the spot here. This is addressed to the doctors. Now, what is the protocol to treating these patients that come in with the virus?
Okay.
Because my first understanding was if they're coming through ER and they're experiencing some form of difficulty in breathing, take me from there. Because working in the hospital, the ventilator, I would think, would be the wrong thing. I'm not an MD, but I would think that would be the wrong thing to treat these patients with, to start off with.
Right off the bat.
Take me from there.
Actually, that's a great question.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, so you go to emergency? How's it go?
Now, let me caveat this by saying I'm an outpatient doctor.
Okay.
I have practiced out in the community as an inpatient doctor, but not during the epidemic, during the pandemic.
All right.
So I will say that what I know about the protocols is this. If you come in with COVID-like symptoms, whether it's through the ER, through the front door, because we're screening everyone who enters the building.
Right.
Okay. So if you come in with those symptoms, the first thing that you do, you go into isolation, and you get tested for the virus. If you test positive for the virus, they are going to measure your oxygen levels, measure your, whether you are having a robust infection in terms of your blood counts and things like that, okay? If your oxygen levels are low, the first step is actually not the ventilator at all. The first step is to give you high flow oxygen. There are new types of oxygen delivery like thermoflow, things like that, that are that deliver oxygen in an efficient manner without having to be invasive, okay?
Right.
To her point, ventilation is the last step, and usually it's a bad step. Usually by the time people are ventilated, it's too late. There are people who survive ventilation.
I was going to just ask you that.
Yeah.
I mean, they are going to survive. Because I just wonder, when they finally go to someone and say, we're going to put you on a ventilator, that may be the last time you're ever conscious.
That's the last.
And you have to be knocked out to be on a ventilator? You can't be conscious?
Yes.
Because why? Otherwise you'll just choke it up?
You're going to fight against it. I mean, most people are not strong enough really to pull it out, but some people will be able to pull it out, things like that. So they usually will want to paralyze as well as to give you sedation.
So you're unconscious when you're on a ventilator.
Correct.
And when you get to the point of a ventilator, it's bad news.
It's bad news. ECMO, all these things, these are last resort. Last resort. And they aren't really saving people, they're keeping people, they aren't really curing people, they're keeping people alive. These are preventive measures.
And then you're hoping by keeping alive that maybe in some cases your body takes a turn and it's able to fight some of this.
Correct. You hope that there's not enough damage, because what happens with COVID, especially in the lungs, is that there's destruction of that lung tissue.
I heard of someone that I know that died of it. At some point they ended up with a hole in their lung.
Yeah, that's essentially what
happens.
Literally
what, it just eats it away?
Yeah, well, what happens really is that the body's immune response is fighting so hard that it's releasing just its last resort cells. So it's kind of like, if you are in a battle, like we're playing Call of Duty or something like that, and I'm beating you, but you can call in the tank. You're going to call in the tank. The tank's going to, shoot these soldiers, but it's also going to blow out the wall behind them, right? So that's what's happening with your body's immune response. And the clots that develop, those areas that get these clots no longer are getting oxygen. When you don't get oxygen, your tissue dies. So that tissue around it dies, and that tissue that dies around it, if your immune response isn't strong enough to come in and scar it and make it stronger, it just breaks away and withers away.
Okay, because there have been some folks that were on ventilators that survived.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, there's a commercial that I saw during the Braves game last night. There's a gentleman that was talking about how he survived COVID.
I saw it too.
But it's still having day-to-day problems, and that's become the reality for a lot of these long haulers and people that do happen to survive, is that they're not the same. They're not anywhere near the same. It's very destructive.
Yeah, that's the point. If you're on a ventilator and you do somehow survive, you're still probably going to have health problems the rest of your life.
So to Gina's point, the ventilator is the very last resort. We don't want to use the ventilator at all. We want to use like our high flow, non-invasive types of things.
Gosh, so many people are on ventilators,
but
right?
If your oxygen is 80% or less, and we are doing everything we can to try to keep your oxygen up, and we can't, we're going to have to do it. That's the last resort, but we're going to do it because, again, some people do survive, even though the numbers are lower. The people do survive, and so we're going to do everything possible, and we're not turning anybody away, whether you're vaccinated or not.
Right.
Don't believe any of the rumors.
Right.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, I care about people at the core.
Period.
I
Right.
want you to do the right thing, but I also have enough grace and compassion to realize that sometimes the noise that you get from outside is more important than what I'm trying to tell you. And so I'm not going. My ego is not so big that I'm not going to treat someone who is unvaccinated.
Of course, right.
And I think the vast majority of doctors out here are like this. They're people that really do care about people in general, and it's frustrating because we do. And when you hear the sentiment that doctors are giving you bad information and things like that, it's really hurtful to me because I really do care about everyone, no matter where they come from. I've been called a lot of bad names. I've been called racial slurs, all sorts of things from people. Still treated them the exact same because that's my job.
You're a professional.
I'm a professional.
You care about people. Well, I'll tell you, the ventilator terrifies me.
Yeah.
And so, again, it should terrify you. And that's my point is I have the vaccine because I know if I get COVID, I will get sick. Okay, and hopefully I bounce back. I'm in good shape. I'm like you were both, and I'm not too old. I don't have any pre-existing conditions. But without that vaccine, I worry I could be one of those folks.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of younger people that were healthy that got it and it took a turn and they ended up. But I have a friend who's an emergency room physician in Texas, of all places where it's rampant, and he just goes, Nick, we don't have a single person on a ventilator, or that's dying, that was vaccinated and does not have pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, I have a really good friend that works overnight at one of the local hospitals, and she's telling me how heartbreaking it is to put a 39-year-old in a body bag, somebody that's younger than me. Older than her, younger than me. Still, like it's devastating to see someone. And my best friend at work is our chief of the ICU, and just to see him from day to day, and I know he intensely cares about patients and really is the smartest guy I know. Bar none, and to see him going through this day to day, it just really it hurts me quite a bit, and we don't necessarily have to be going through this.
I know, and you think about cases like Phil Valentine, someone I knew, and it's tragic, and it breaks my heart what happened to him. He ended up with it. He initially was someone, I wouldn't say that he was anti-vaxxer, but he certainly poo-pooed getting a vaccine, and then once he got sick, he came clean. He realized how bad this was, and he was, according to his family, encouraging people to go get it. By then it's too late for him. But here's my point. People don't listen because I can say Phil Valentine, had he never gotten sick, if someone else like him had gotten sick and was saying the same thing, people don't listen. He wouldn't have listened. Once he was there, he's saying, gosh, I was wrong. I wish I had gotten it, and you need to go get it. It's too late for him. Sadly, he died. But I wonder if he would have listened to someone else. That's the problem. We always say, oh, now I'm warning you, now I'm sick. Someone else can say, oh, well, that's him, not me. You don't need to listen. You just need to listen to your doctors and look around you and see what's going on.
Yeah, take the blinders off, and realize that, for me, again, my stakes are trying to keep people safe.
Right.
I don't have any interest in anything financial at all about this.
No, it's preventable. It breaks my heart when it's a horrible way to die because you're isolated. Your family can't be there with you. And I look at all these cases with these people dying, and I'm not angry at them or mad at them. I pity them, and I'm like, gosh, this could have been prevented, but you were listening to the wrong people, and now you're going to die. And it's like, it's heartbreaking.
It really,
because it's completely preventable.
In the early stages of this thing, we were kind of helpless and scared and fearful because we didn't know anything. It was a novel virus, right? And we were all, I want people to take themselves back if they can. It feels like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it sure does.
It's only 18 months ago. Take yourself back to 18 months ago and how you felt and say, oh man, if they can come up with a vaccine for this thing and I can protect other people from it, I'm going to be the first one in line for it. You know what I mean? And then, gradually the goalposts move, and people became skeptical.
That's right.
Because people with platforms, and again, I'm very responsible, and you are, Nick, too. That's why I enjoy coming on here, because I know you're responsible with your platform. And again, I'm not here to condemn people. I'm here to let them know that, I've done my homework. I've done my homework like I haven't done my homework since I was studying for my MCAT, studying for my boards. I really do want to give good information. And if I don't have good information, I'm quick to step back and say, hey, I don't know all of the details about this, but this is what I know.
Yep.
And I think that's being responsible. And I think that's where some of the people, again, I don't know Phil. I don't know, a lot of the other people that, my dad was a radio talk show host, so I kind of know the mentality that's there. And a lot of times it's to entertain and for ratings, but this is something that is deadly serious.
Right.
And with a platform that can potentially reach millions, you need to be responsible.
Yeah.
Not to say that you can't have an opinion, but to know the sources that your opinion is coming from and to be transparent about that, and to take a step back and say, hey, look, if you really do care about people and you want to keep your listeners and viewers up, it's in your best interest to give them good information.
Well, I don't want my viewers and listeners to die. Right. I want to, and like you say, you do such a wonderful job of educating. I'm a journalist, okay, and so my job is to tell two sides of the story and share it. There is one side to this vaccine story. One side.
Yeah.
I don't give attention. I don't cover the side of vaccines are harmful. They don't, because it's false. And that's not being a good journalist. That's being a good, responsible journalist, because I listen to people like you, and there's only one side to that. Vaccines work, period.
Yeah.
Doctor, thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
We'll see you again sometime soon, my friend.
Hopefully, the Braves will have won a championship.
Go Braves!
Yeah.
All right. It's great seeing you, Cal.
Great seeing you.
All right. Take a break. Be back with a programming note right after this.
Awesome.